Alright guys, we are going to be reacting to Candace Owens speak at SPIEF, full speech on family, media, and Russia. We're going to react to this. A lot of controversy, but we're going to see what's going on. Let's go.
И ведущий собственного подкаста. Мама 4 детей, надеемся, пока. Да. Активный участник общественных международных дискуссий о сохранении традиционных семейных ценностей Candace Owens. Candace, спасибо большое, что вы сегодня вместе с нами. Интерес в нашей стране к вашему визиту огромен. И милости просим, добро пожаловать в нашу такую веселую, очень дружелюбную, добродушную компанию и в нашу страну. Я у вас видела, что достаточно часто в своих блогах вы, вот так вот восклицаете: отстаньте от меня со своими феминистическими штучками, ерундой с этой. Я люблю печь пироги. Это классно, мы тоже очень любим печь пироги. Вы заявляете, что главное для женщины — это забота о муже и о детях. Вы выступаете против абортов. При этом вы активно строите свою карьеру. Так же, как и все присутствующие здесь, вот на этой площадке. Откуда у вас столько русскости, Candace? Вы такая очень-очень наша, любовь к пирогам, к детям. Расскажите немного о себе и что вы думаете по поводу всего того, что вы услышали здесь уже.
First and foremost, thank you guys so much for having me. This is my first time in Russia, and it's been absolutely beautiful, wonderful, defied all of my expectations, and to be able to, in addition to that, while I'm here visiting with our children, my husband and children, to be able to sit on such an impactful panel and discuss what is most important to me, family, is truly an honor, so thank you so much. It's a huge topic, actually, in America. We have been sort of, and just to make this make sense to you guys, it became quite controversial. This idea of family, success, can you have both? This question became quite controversial. And I would say, especially within the government institution, public schools, you saw this sort of messaging when I was growing up that you cannot have both. You have to make a decision. You either are going to climb the corporate ladder and find success, or you are going to be at home raising children. And this obviously put a lot of pressure, especially on women. Women receiving that sort of messaging for a very long time, that you can't have both. It got to a point where it was quite toxic, and my most recent book that I authored was a response to that toxicity. There was this idea of a woman making a sandwich as the ultimate form of enslavement. The idea of a woman making a sandwich, whether it's for her husband or for her children, became sort of this ideological symbol of oppression. I was quite stunned by that, and so I did author a book with the title, Make Him a Sandwich, to kind of combat this idea that is a new age form of enslavement. And in this book, we do sort of tackle that question: what is success? Because that's, you have to be able to define the terms of the debate. We say, can you have family and have success? Well, what is success? And in one chapter, I sort of explain that even the definition of success is different. When you speak to men and when you speak to women, there is a biological difference. And what I mean by that is, if you ask people who is the most successful man in the world, by and large, every single time that we ask this question, we either hear Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, we hear men who have at one point or another been in the top 10 for the richest men in the world. So we're hearing that answer, that it is defined by financial success, by empire building. And when we ask the same question to women, who is the most successful woman in the world, it's a totally different answer. Never do they even name women that are in the top 50 for the most financially successful women in the world. In fact, they don't even know who those women are. We will typically hear Taylor Swift, and this is obviously very Western responses perhaps, but Taylor Swift, Oprah, we hear a lot. People will say those must be the most successful women. And that's interesting, because this might be actually the only country in the world where you guys might know the answer to who the richest women, I guess, entrepreneur, self-starting entrepreneur in the world is, because it is actually a Russian woman, Tatiana Kim, who's created Wildberries, but nobody would know this. Nobody knows this answer, of course, in least of all the United States of America. And so when you examine those differences, we realize that success is measured differently. And for women, the women that find that sort of success are women who are leaning into their biological instincts to nurture and to communicate. Even though someone like Taylor Swift doesn't have a family, she found her success in speaking about the idea of finding love and finding family.
No way she's talking about Taylor Swift. Bro. Taylor Swift is the worst example she can bring into the world. Taylor Swift is a feminist lady that don't give a damn about American values and family.
A picture that people.
Yo, I think I'm a good bridge between all this, and I'm very conservative, guys. I'm more conservative than her, by the way. I'm very conservative. I'll be very careful with her, man.
To understand. Similarly with Oprah, she really responded to, was able to communicate effectively to the suburban housewife, and so we're talking about men in a totally different capacity. Men are envying men who are, again, like I said before, building these sorts of empires. And so in my own personal life, I have found the same. Before I had a family, I did still have a podcast, and my podcast was not as successful as it is today. And it was, I would say, to start a family and to have children is the biggest event in a woman's life and in a man's life. It completely changes, commutes who you are as a person, and you realize within yourself a bigger purpose. The biggest purpose, actually. There's nothing more defining, and the ways in which we respond as a husband or as a wife to that event are different. For me, that day-to-day with the children has made me such a happier person. I do my podcast from home, which is an absolute blessing. I start my mornings being able to homeschool my children, and what it has given me is real-life perspective and something worth communicating about. Realizing that the conversations are not just political, I'm not theorizing, I'm actually trying to help nurture that female instinct, to help nurture a world that I want my children to be able to grow up in. And if you see society moving in a way that terrifies you, and you go, I don't want my kids to be the inheritors of this sort of society, you want to do something about it. And so when my podcast became that space where I am able to bring that focus, that energy, and that purpose, it grew to the size that it is today. Similarly, I would say for my husband, his instinct.
The reason I'm not looking at her body language, because I really want to hear what she had to say without me getting contaminated by her body language.
Though was to build. You hear the gentleman today speaking about that, to go build the empire. I think at times there has been some conflict between governments and thinking that maybe you don't want that messaging to come out. Maybe they think, oh, we don't want people at home with big families, that's not going to help. And I think we disagree with that perspective more. Governments and institutions should encourage big families because it encourages better people, people that build with purpose and people that nurture with purpose. And so it really has been a blessing to hear about, I guess, to hear more intimately about what's going on in Russia in terms of those policies that are being put into place to encourage big families. And I truly believe that any nation that supports that sort of a dynamic, whether it's in the West, the East, or hopefully both, the Eastern and the Western Hemisphere, we will have a much more fruitful and productive society.
The last statement, I agree with her. The problem with Candace Owens is that she claimed herself to be an anti-feminist, but at the same time, she lived a feminist lifestyle. See what I'm saying? That's my only issue with her. And she tends to do a lot of this political theater about herself. And that's very tiresome. It's very tiresome. It was alright. It was okay.
Спасибо за то, что вы делаете у себя на родине. Скажите, что бы главный вывод вот из того, что вы услышали, вы везете с собой из России?
You know, my main conclusion would be that we are grappling with the same issues, West and East, and I think something that we hit upon today was just the media messaging and constantly trying to make this division between what's going on in Russia, what's going on in America, that there are no similarities. My entire trip has revealed to me just how similar we are, and our motivation both as a faithful society, not first, but family, understanding that family approaches us in a positive way. It's just been a tremendously encouraging trip, and I can't wait to go back onto my podcast and to be able to share that with the American people as well.
Я одно слово предложение буквально. Очень рада, во-первых, услышать прекрасную мысль. И хочу сказать о том, что сейчас в России специально мы знаем, что множество родителей за рубежом разделяют ценности, которые Россия поставила в главе своей политики. Защите семьи, материнства и так далее. Недавно на одном женском форуме, как ни странно, поддержана была идея о создании комитета матерей. Я предложила при ООН создать комитет матерей. Ну, есть комитет женщин, там всякие разные комитеты по защите всех прав. И ничего, что сегодня ввиду современной политики нужно защищать материнство. Настало время, когда реально нужно защищать право на материнство. Женские движения занимаются защитой различных прав на тяжелые профессии, на опасные профессии, что-то еще придумывают. Слушайте, когда родители один, родитель два, все, что мы святого знаем про маму, любовь к матери, стихи, песни, фольклор, во всех религиях воспетая мать, отец, семья формируется. Наверное, настало время защищать материнство. Если интересно, присоединяйтесь к идее, может быть, вместе добьемся.
Ваш супруг хочет еще детей?
Yeah, yeah. I would say this is, I think, for both of us, we were startled at how much we enjoy being parents. You know, and that's why I say it gets back to the pursuit of happiness. Like you realize that you have a purpose, and I think prior to you're sort of working, you don't maybe worth trying to build your financial accounts, but it's such a cataclysmic in a good way event when you have children, because you suddenly realize, like, you know, there's something so much bigger, there's something so much more divine, and we just really didn't think that we would enjoy being parents this much. They're positively divine, and I will say this: when you're dealing with issues in the world, like for an S&R space, it would just be headlines. It's so minimized. It's so minimized when you come home, and no matter what you have going on, and if you're a toddler, you can just say something so simple and so funny, and all of the stress is just removed. You realize, no, this is what actually matters.
Yeah, she said the right things, I guess. She said the right things. Yes, we're supposed to be in the same side of the aisle when it comes down to politics, me and Candace. But my problem with her is that she's making this all about herself. That's what I don't like. She's making this all about herself. I don't like that. The show is about her. The Twitter account's about her. Nothing about the country, the goals of the country. Nothing to do with that. And I define this kind of fish, like just kind of blah. In saying the right things, I guess. That's my problem with her. I used to be kind of a fan of her. But likely in the last couple of years, she's all the Candace Owens. Nothing to do with America or goals of America. What can we do to push America forward? Like, it's nothing to do with that. That's my opinion, guys, regarding this. I don't know. He's okay, I guess. He's okay. Well, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. See, I think this is important, especially to me, that I'm very right-wing in a lot of policies. And she's supposed to be right-wing as well. And we are disagreeing in a lot of issues. And I'm disagreeing with the way she just handles some of the situations. I mean, the speech in itself was okay, I guess, for political reasons. Underneath all that, guys, there's a different kind of individual. Like, She is not doing anything about this. It's about a country. It's not about, personally, I don't think it's about even making sure that the relationship between Russia and the United States are better. I don't think so, guys. I don't think so. I don't think so. I think this is mostly about them, about her. That's my opinion. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. I'll see you next one.